Once upon a time, in a quiet village nestled at the foot of towering mountains, lived a young child named Elara. Unlike the other children who played in the sunlit meadows, Elara was drawn to the mysteries of the world beyond, to the dark forests and the soaring peaks that kissed the clouds. One morning, with a small satchel containing a piece of bread, a water skin, and a heart full of courage, Elara set off on a journey that would change everything. The path began easy enough, winding through familiar fields, but soon it plunged into the whispering woods. The trees here were ancient and gnarled, their branches weaving a thick canopy that blocked out the sun. Strange sounds echoed. Through the gloom, the snap of a twig, the rustle of unseen things. At first, fear tried to take hold, a cold knot in Elara's stomach. But then, remembering the stories of old, Elara took a deep breath and walked on, her small footsteps the only steady rhythm. In the eerie silence, it was in these woods that Elara learned the first lesson. Fear is just a shadow, and it shrinks when you walk toward it. As Elara ventured deeper, a pair of glowing yellow eyes appeared in the darkness. A low growl rumbled, and out stepped a magnificent wolf, its fur the color of midnight. But this was no ordinary wolf. Its eyes held an ancient wisdom. Instead of baring its teeth, it simply watched. Elara, remembering a lesson of kindness from the village elder, broke off a piece of bread and offered it. The wolf sniffed the offering, then gently took it, its gaze softening. From that moment on, the wolf, whom Elara named Shadow, became a silent guardian, trotting faithfully a few paces behind. Together, they emerged from the forest at the base of the Dragon's Tooth Mountains. The peaks were jagged and unforgiving, the path a treacherous ribbon of loose rock and sheer cliffs. The wind howled like a mournful spirit, trying to push them back. The climb was grueling. Elara's muscles ached, and the air grew thin and cold. Doubt began to creep in. Was this journey a mistake? Was the world beyond the village simply too big, too harsh? Just as despair was about to settle in, a flash of brilliant blue caught Elara's eye. Perched on a nearby ledge was a tiny bird with feathers that shimmered like sapphires. It chirped a cheerful, melodic tune, a song so full of life and joy that it cut through the wind's mournful cry. The bird, which Elara called Melody, seemed to be showing the way. Flitting from one safe foothold to the next, it sung a constant source of encouragement. Melody taught Elara that even in the harshest of places, hope can be found in the smallest of things, and that perseverance is a song you sing to yourself, one step at a time. With Shadow's quiet strength and Melody's joyful guidance, Elara finally reached the summit. The view was breathtaking. The world stretched out below, a patchwork of forests, rivers, and distant towns. But it wasn't the view that was the real prize. Looking down, Elara saw a winding river that had been blocked by a massive rockfall, causing the lands below to dry up and wither. The river was the lifeblood for countless villages, and its blockage was causing great suffering. Elara knew what had to be done. It was here, at the top of the world, that the final and most important lesson was waiting. Descending to the rockfall, Elara saw a group of gruff-looking mountain trolls arguing amongst themselves. They were the ones who had caused the landslide, bickering over who owned which part of the mountain. Elara approached them, not with a weapon, but with an open heart. Instead of demanding they fix the problem, Elara told them a story of the villages below, of the thirsty fields and the worried people. Elara spoke of how the river was like the mountain's own heart, and when it couldn't flow, the whole land suffered, including the mountain they loved so dearly. The trolls, who had never considered the consequences of their actions, fell silent. They saw the honesty and empathy in Elara's eyes, moved by the child's words. They agreed to work together, using their immense strength. The trolls cleared the rocks, and with a mighty roar, the river was free once more. It surged down the mountainside, bringing life back to the parched lands. Elara had faced the darkness of the forest, the challenge of the mountains, and the stubbornness of the trolls. The journey wasn't about reaching a destination. It was about what was discovered. Along the way, bravery wasn't the absence of fear, but acting in spite of it. Kindness could build bridges where anger built walls, and honesty, spoken from the heart, had the power to move mountains, or at least to move trolls to move mountains. As Elara, Shadow, and Melody began the journey home, They were no longer just a child, a wolf, and a bird. They were a fellowship. Bound by shared trials and triumphs, Alara returned to the village not as the quiet child who had left, but as a young hero filled with the wisdom of the wild and the strength of a true heart. The greatest adventures, Alara realized, are the ones that teach us not just about the world, but about the very best parts of ourselves. And so, the story of Alara's journey was told for generations, a reminder that with a little bravery, a touch of kindness, and a wealth of honesty, any child can travel through dark forests and high mountains and find the magic hidden within. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more adventures. See you next time.